Some celebrity deaths are so bizarre, confusing, or poorly explained that even decades later, people still argue about what really happened. Today, we're going through 10 famous cases where the official story exists, but the details never quite lined up. Marilyn Monroe.
I used to come here to see your mommy, too.
She drowned.
Do you ever think about her?
Marilyn Monroe was one of the most famous women in the world, but by 1962, she was struggling with depression and pills. On August 5th, she was found dead in her home, lying in bed with the phone still in her hand. Police ruled it a probable suicide caused by a massive overdose of barbiturates. But the suspicious details began immediately. Her housekeeper later changed parts of her story, admitting she had been doing laundry in the middle of the night and that Robert Kennedy had allegedly visited the house earlier that evening during an argument, something she only claimed decades later. The timeline itself was strange. Authorities weren't called right away, and for some reason, no pill fragments were found in Monroe's stomach, despite the dose being so high it should have left traces. Some of Monroe's phone records disappeared, and a few early investigators insisted the bedroom looked cleaned, as if someone prepped the scene. The official reinvestigation in 1982 found no evidence of homicide, but also admitted the case had loose ends. And that's why Monroe's death still sits in that uncomfortable space between tragedy and mystery.
Can we start again?
Yeah, one more. That was good, though, huh?
Natalie Wood. Natalie Wood drowned in 1981 during a boat trip with her husband Robert Wagner and actor Christopher Walken. She was found floating near shore the next morning, wearing a nightgown and jacket, covered in bruises that her autopsy couldn't fully explain. Witnesses from a nearby boat reported hearing a woman crying for help, followed by a man's slurred voice answering her, something the initial investigation didn't pursue deeply. The boat's captain later claimed Wagner delayed calling for help, and in 2012, the coroner officially changed the cause of death from accident to drowning and other undetermined factors. Wagner was later named a person of interest. To this day, the case remains open.
Natalie Wood was also loved by a world full of audiences, and they too will miss her.
Kurt Cobain. Kurt Cobain was found dead in 1994 with a shotgun and a note, and police ruled it suicide almost immediately. But the toxicology report raised questions. Cobain had such a high level of heroin in his system that many believe he wouldn't have been able to physically fire the weapon. The shotgun had no usable fingerprints, partially because it wasn't processed until weeks later. And handwriting experts still debate whether the emotional final lines of the note were written by Cobain or added later. Courtney Love has always denied any involvement, and most family members accept the official story. But the unanswered details ensured this case never really left the public argument stage. Tupac Shakur.
We will bring a new government here that will feed every person in New York.
7 months before Biggie, Tupac Shakur was shot in a drive-by on the Las Vegas Strip. He died 6 days later. The suspicious part is how clear the motive seemed, and yet how little the investigation moved for decades. Earlier that same night, Tupac and his entourage beat up Orlando Anderson inside the MGM Grand. A few hours later, a white Cadillac pulled up beside Tupac's car and opened fire. Everyone in Vegas knew who the likely suspects were, yet nobody involved wanted to talk. For years, it became the single biggest unsolved hip-hop case in history.
Oh, yes. All day. What you think? A little bit of me?
Conspiracies exploded. Suge Knight's involvement, government plots, or Tupac faking his death under his Machiavelli persona. And the case stayed cold until 2023, when Keefe D, Anderson's uncle, was finally arrested after years of bragging in interviews about being in the car that night. If his trial confirms the long-standing gang retaliation theory, Tupac's case may finally get closure after nearly 3 decades.
One Corleone, okay? I will break your fucking bones all over this fucking joint.
But the long silence is what made this death truly infamous.
I love kids. It just does something to my chest. The innocence that they have and how they look up to you and how you can't do no wrong to them. And I love that, man.
The Notorious B.I.G.
I kind of realized how powerful Tupac and I was. We two individual people, we waged a coastal beef.
Biggie was killed in Los Angeles 6 months after Tupac. Same setup. A red light, a car pulling up beside him, shots fired, and a suspect vehicle vanishing into the night. Investigators never solved it. Families accused corrupt LAPD officers of working with Suge Knight. Witnesses claimed police abandoned important leads. Lawsuits were filed and fell apart. In the end, Biggie's death became linked in the public imagination to a wider chain of failures, rivalries, and possible cover-ups. And just like Tupac's case, Biggie's remains officially unsolved. Brittany Murphy.
I do this all the time.
All right,
yeah.
how about that?
But in an ironic way, not seriously.
Yeah, how about this?
Like, dude.
Okay.
Brittany Murphy was only 32 when she collapsed in her bathroom in 2009. The coroner said she died of pneumonia, severe anemia, and a mix of prescription and over-the-counter medications. But the story didn't end there. 5 months later, her husband, living in the same house, died the same way: pneumonia and anemia. That double tragedy fueled theories about toxic mold, something Murphy's mother briefly suggested and then retracted. Then, Murphy's father paid for independent tests, claiming her hair contained heavy metals, sometimes found in rat poison. Experts later dismissed it, saying hair products or environmental contamination could cause that, but the accusation stuck in the public imagination. Investigators found no signs of homicide, and the coroner insisted Brittany was extremely sick and simply didn't get help in time. Still, a young married couple dying the exact same way in the same house gave this case a permanent, eerie shadow.
You're a sweetheart.
No,
Do you need
you're
to
a
ask any more final questions?
I could stay here all day.
Even though they've stopped rolling tape?
Yeah, I know.
Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson died in 2009 after receiving surgical-level anesthetic, propofol, as a sleep aid. His doctor, Conrad Murray, gave him multiple sedatives throughout the night until Jackson stopped breathing. The death was officially ruled homicide, and Murray went to prison for involuntary manslaughter. Jackson's family believes Murray didn't act alone, and that powerful people pushed Michael past his limits. Fans suggested cover-ups, saboteurs, and even that Jackson faked his death, but none of those theories produced evidence. What makes his case unsettling isn't the mystery, it's the reality. One of the world's biggest icons died in a bedroom using hospital-grade drugs simply to fall asleep. Whitney Houston and Bobbi Kristina. Whitney Houston drowned in a hotel bathtub in 2012 with cocaine and several medications in her system. The cause was ruled accidental, likely triggered by a cardiac event. But the details got stranger when her daughter, Bobbi Kristina, died 3 years later, also after being found unresponsive in a bathtub. Bobbi's boyfriend, Nick Gordon, was later found civilly liable for her wrongful death and ordered to pay $36 million, though he was never criminally charged. Whitney's family believes Gordon enabled both Whitney and Bobbi's drug use, and some think he may have played a role in both tragedies. Officially, Whitney's case is an accidental drowning. Unofficially, many believe both deaths are connected by something far darker. Anna Nicole Smith.
Make me beautiful, duet!
Anna Nicole Smith died in 2007 from a combination of prescription drugs taken while she was extremely ill with a high fever and an infection. The official ruling was accidental, but investigators later learned she had been given an enormous cocktail of medications by her partner, Howard K. Stern, and 2 doctors. Those doctors were later charged for overprescribing her drugs under fake names, though most charges were eventually reduced or overturned. There's no evidence she was murdered, but almost everyone agrees she was surrounded by people who enabled her addictions until her body couldn't keep up.
I've been waiting for it for 25 years. I'll take all I can get.
Bruce Lee.
Be formless, shapeless, like water.
Bruce Lee died at 32 after taking a single Equagesic tablet for a headache while visiting actress Betty Ting Pei. He lay down to rest and never woke up. The autopsy showed massive brain swelling, and the coroner blamed a sudden allergic reaction. But from day one, the public didn't believe a painkiller could kill the fittest man in Hollywood. Some pointed to the strange collapse Bruce had 2 months earlier, also involving brain swelling. Some blamed heat stroke, especially since Bruce reportedly had his underarm sweat glands removed, making cooling harder. Others suggested hyponatremia from excessive water intake, or even an undiagnosed seizure disorder. More out there theories blamed triad hitmen, jealous martial artists, or a Lee family curse after both Bruce and his son Brandon died young under freak circumstances. The official verdict remains death by misadventure, but 50 years later, nobody agrees on the real reason Bruce Lee collapsed.
Now you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow, or it can crash. Be water, my friend.
Some of these deaths were accidents, some were medical tragedies, and some are still unsolved, with clues pointing in every direction. But each one left behind the same question. How does someone so famous, so protected, so watched, still disappear under circumstances nobody can fully explain? If you want more videos like this, let me know which case you want me to cover next. I'll give you a shout out in the beginning for the video. And if this one helped you discover something new, hit like so it reaches more people. Don't forget to subscribe and stay safe out there.
You're a sweetheart. Do you need to ask any more final questions?
I could stay here all day.
Even though they've stopped rolling tape?
Yeah, I know.